And we had a few calls trickle in, nothing real serious. The day we finished the property,
Real Estate Radio Northwest, in cooperation with Business Radio 1300 KKOL, brings you local real estate and finance expert Nick Neal, along with author and radio personality Shelley Dudley. They're here each week to bring you the honest truth about the Puget Sound real estate market. So now, here are Nick Neal and Shelley Dudley.
Hi, friends in Seattle, Bellevue, Kirkland, all the way up to Everett, all the way down to Tacoma. Did I get that right?
You did.
Nice.
Well
I'm
done.
nailing that now. I finally got my north and south down.
Hey.
I hope you're having a great weekend. I'm Nick Neal. I'm here with Shelley Dudley, my co-host, and you are listening to Real Estate Radio Northwest on Business Radio, KKOL AM 1300 and Freedom 1590.
Freedom 1590.
And we're here to share our stories with you. Stories about real people, just like you, who are buying and selling real estate, building and protecting wealth, and working hard to create a stable financial future for themselves and their families. And also, Security National Mortgage, can't forget to tell you about our pre-approval process right now. It's just amazing. We're getting people dialed in with the pre-approval before they go out to look for a home, so that you know when you're looking at a property, your financing's all in place. You don't have to worry about conditions and pay stubs and W-2s and whether your income's going to qualify. We have that all set up before we give you the pre-approval. So when it's time to go out and look for the house, you're ready to do that, and you can focus with your realtor on finding the right property. So if you need help with that, give us a call, 888-638-1117.
Or 888-638-1117.
Yes, and realestateradionorthwest.com is our website. We've got a pretty good website. We're going to get that dialed in a little more here. We've got somebody coming to help us get that cleaned up. But we've got
But
all
at
of our...
least there's no monkeys now.
No monkeys! I know, it's awesome. No monkeys jumping around. And
Yay.
we've got a video that's a little cockeyed on one of the things there, but it's going pretty good. So check that out. And also Freedom, or Facebook? Facebook?
Yes, our Facebook page is Real Estate Radio Northwest.
/Facebook. We've
No,
got
other way around. Facebook / Real Estate Radio Northwest.
That's how that works? Okay, cool. Just Google it. Google Real Estate Radio Northwest, and all that stuff will pop up.
Yes.
So we've got some great guests with us today. That entry that I do talking about buying real estate and building and protecting wealth, that's what we're talking about today. It's a neat opportunity. You know, you might not have the type of money that it takes to buy some of the investment properties that we're looking at in Seattle right now. You know, entry level might be around $200,000. I've got people buying. Right now, I've got one client buying two $500,000 investment properties, and that fits for them. It's in a great market. They're going to cash flow. But if you don't have $500,000, we might have an opportunity for you. We've got guests today, Clifton Stone from Memphis Cashflow. How you doing today, Clifton?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Nice. Well, it's good to have you here, and I'm blown away. I mean, literally, what we're talking about is being able to take a 1 off of that price that I just talked about. Possibly?
Absolutely.
I mean a 0. One of the. It's just too hard to even imagine.
A zero.
Literally take one of the zeros off of that with opportunities you guys are having in Memphis.
Yeah, our houses will typically range from 50 to 150.
Oh, that's crazy. And then we've got Steve Bighaus from Team Bighaus, Security National Mortgage, with us today.
Thank you.
How you doing, Steve?
Doing great.
My partner in not crime. We don't do crime anymore in the lending industry at all.
Yeah, we tried to stop that.
Yeah, we've got compliance people that make sure that we don't get into those areas with investing, especially. But you guys work together as a team, right?
We do. We work a great deal together.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Steve's the lending side for you, and I know with the volume that he does, 30 to 40 sometimes loans a month, most of those are investment loans, and for people that are buying the type of properties that you're talking about.
Yeah. Steve is fantastic at working with new investors who are needing information about what the best path to take is to reach their goal, which is generally their first 9 or 10 properties that they're able to buy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Clifton, before we talk more about what you guys are doing, tell us a little about yourself and about Memphis. I know you got a baby.
Sure, yeah.
And before we get into that, we should probably mention a couple of things. We should set the stage here. First of all, we've got a live feed.
Oh, my God. I'm trying to forget about that.
We have a live internet feed today, which is a cool live stream going on, which is unusual for us. So if you'd like to pick us up on our live stream and actually see us rather than just hear us, not that we have faces for radio, but
no,
come and see us on our live stream. You can pick up our link on our Facebook page at Real Estate Radio Northwest.
Yeah, and that's Facebook. Well, they know how to do that.
Yeah, you can just find us on Facebook.
Or just Google us. Google us and you'll find the Facebook link.
And the other thing that we should say is that today we are going to be taking callers. We don't normally take callers on our show, but today we are going to be taking callers. And if you'd like to call in later on in our third segment, you can give us a call at 866-712-1019. 866-712-1300, and that'll be later on in the show, so write that number down, 866-712-1300.
Later on in the show. Thank you so much for taking care of me with that, Shelley.
I got your back, Nick.
I'm blocking out all the video stuff here because it's just there's a lot of activity that we typically don't have.
We've got a lot of stuff
snuggled up
happening.
To Shelley. Usually we've got our room. Go on, you're going to see. Typically she's across the desk from me. Today we're like all snuggled up together.
We are, which is
Clifton
unusual
and Steve
for us.
have plenty of room over there.
You bet.
In their nice, comfortable place. well, back to what you guys are doing.
So my apologies for interrupting
No
there.
worries. Yeah, Clifton, so tell us a little about yourself. And
Sure. I was born and raised in Memphis and currently live there with my wife, Lauren, our 2-year-old son, Anderson, and we have two big dogs. And both our grandparents are in Memphis, so I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon.
So you're a good, stable guy. If they come and work with you in Memphis, you're not going to be disappearing in the middle of the night.
Absolutely
that's for sure.
not, no.
You're ground, born and raised there. And it was an interesting story. You said how you got into real estate. Because you're relatively young, well, in your 30s. I mean, that's 51. That's relatively young to you, to me. But how did you get into real estate and get into the investment opportunities that you're sharing with people?
Well, I went into real estate full time in 2007, and that was right after I graduated college. I'd studied international business and finance, and the first plan was to go work for FedEx and move to Italy and travel.
Wow.
But my dad and cousin had started a fantastic business that focused on listing and selling bank REO foreclosures. That was in early 2007, and by the time we hit late 2007, first quarter of 2008, we began to go off the financial cliff, and the foreclosures just dramatically increased in number.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Boy, you picked a good time to come in.
Yeah, I started out in the free fall pretty much.
Wow. And so you started buying properties at that time? Or how did that start?
No, I learned a great deal by dealing with the distressed foreclosures firsthand, and I did that for a little over 5 years. I bought my first investment property in 2009. I'd been watching a lot of the investors that I've been selling houses to, following the chain of title, seeing what they did with the properties, and was just fascinated by it. My first goal was to buy 10 properties with an average of $300 in positive cash flow each month. And I was able to reach that goal in about a year and a half. And
that's almost one every other month.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was
or one a month. You said a year and a half. Oh my gosh!
I was very aggressive. I was working with some great lenders, and we were at the bottom of the market. First and second quarter of 2010 was the absolute bottom in Memphis.
Wow.
So when I hit 10 properties, it really clicked for me. I saw the power in owning real estate, and the power in positive cash flow, and the opportunity to build wealth over a long period of time. So that's when it really started for me. And my wife and I have since founded Riverstone Properties, which is our investment company that primarily focuses on buying and holding investment properties in Memphis.
Nice. And you just turned 32.
I did.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. So
we've got a lot of people at that age that are just now starting to try and think about how they might be able to do this. So you've done it. You're there, and you can help them. And this is affordable. Steve, on the lending side, is it tough to get qualified for these loans? And can you really buy a house in Memphis if you live in Washington?
Yeah, that's no issues there. We finance a lot of investors. We're probably doing 300 to 400 loans a year. We operate in 17 states. Memphis was probably, when we made the decision to branch out in the Northwest, Memphis was our first place that we actually branched out into.
Yeah. Can you tell a little about your background? Because to say that you're doing 30 to 40 loans a month, I mean, that's huge. That's what companies do. Just if you don't really know the industry, a typical loan officer, and Steve calls himself a loan officer, but he's the manager of a 6-person team. That's literally a lending machine for investment properties. I've never seen anything like him. He's amazing. But how did you get in? Give us a little bit of background.
I've been in the business since '88. Half of my career was spent in banking. I made the decision in 2002 to leave banking and focus primarily on real estate investors. So worked with some groups up here, investors here in the Northwest. The opportunity, actually received a phone call from a gentleman that was looking for a lender for Memphis. So made the phone call, Spent about 5 months doing my homework on the Memphis markets, flying back, spending a week at a time in Memphis. And I got to know appraisers, people like Clifton's company, Memphis Cashflow with Hewlett Gregory, and just kind of got a feel for the land. Got licensed and just started there. And so currently right now we have on my team, I've got 6 assistants that work for me, and that to help us to continue that flow. And we're always looking, already looking for other avenues. We're starting to finance some foreign investors.
Wow, nice. Yeah, and I'm actually working with you now to let people know that with Security National, my team has become, or working with your team to be able to kind of get some guidance and help from you to make sure that our systems are lined up. Because 40 properties a month, I mean, that's just crazy. There's not, less than 1% of the loan officers in the country are able to do those type of volumes. Yeah. So this is an amazing team. We're just about ready to get into a break here. But we're going to talk more with Clifton and Steve about how you can buy properties in Memphis for really $50,000.
Absolutely.
Today. That's not 2012 prices.
Today.
You can still find those properties today. That's amazing. That's just incredible. And how many properties do you have now, did you say?
My wife and I own 17 single family, and we have a 4-unit apartment building as well.
Wow, crazy.
That's pretty impressive. That's going to be fun to talk about when we get back from the break.
Yep, we'll be right back from the break. Real Estate Radio Northwest with Clifton Stone and Steve Bighaus, a team that can help you buy houses in Memphis for $50,000 and the cash flow. Stay right with us. We'll be right back.
In times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom.
Security National Mortgage Corporation is licensed.
About what's going to be best for you and your family. It's easy. We give you the real facts. You decide where to go from there. We're here to help. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back from the break soon.
Call Nick Neal today, and you'll be glad you did. 888-638-1117. That's 888-638-1117. Or you can visit realestateradionorthwest.com for more info.
If you haven't checked out Freedom 1590 lately, let me just clue you in on what you've been missing. Great conservative talkers, expressing their views and taking your calls. Get your day started with Bill Bennett's Morning in America from 3 to 6. From 6 to 9, it's Mike Gallagher. 9 to noon, Dennis Prager. Noon to 3, enjoy Dennis Miller. 3 to 6 in the afternoon, it's Hugh Hewitt. Early evening, 6 to 9, tune in to Steve Dace. And then Seattle favorite Mike Siegel takes you from 9 to midnight. They're all waiting for you on Freedom 1590.
Geico presents Fan Mail to a Pig.
Dear Maxwell, first off, hope you are well. And I am. Seems like all you do is promote Geico's web and app abilities. And while I really enjoyed your last commercial where you talked about how I could take a photo of my VIN number and add it to my account all via my Geico app, I've got to think it doesn't leave you much time for anything else. Do tell. Sincerely, Miranda Morgan. Well, Miranda, thank you for asking. And this Geico spokespig does have time to do other things. For instance, I do a lot of
VIN scanning to add a car, just a tap away on the Geico app.
Welcome back from the break. This is Nick Neal with Real Estate Radio Northwest. Is that John Travolta? Is that what I'm supposed to be singing in my mind there?
No, that
Saturday
was
Night Fever.
No, not at all. No, I'm trying to think who did that. The song is Superstition, and I'm trying to remember who did that one.
I'm trying to remember the movie scene that came
Stevie
from.
Wonder.
That's right. That's right. Nice. Thank you, guys.
That's right. Yeah, a little bit like
great music. See, so we have to send a shout out to Joshua for choosing really great music for us. Even though he's not here with us today, we have a different different board op today, and that's Rich. Thank you, Rich, for all you're doing for us.
Yeah, thanks for Rich. And we got James in the studio with us with camera doing the
live stream.
Not a pod. That would be recorded. This is like a live feed.
Yeah, he's
YouTube,
doing a live stream.
Yeah, so and how did they? Well, Facebook was what we said, right? Go to Facebook.
Go to our Facebook page, Real Estate Radio Northwest, and you can pick up the link to the live feed.
Yep, on YouTube, right in there. Just click on that link, and that'll take you into be able to see us in the studio here as we're doing the show. And this is Real Estate Radio Northwest. We're on Freedom 1590 and Business Radio KKOL AM 1300. And I and Steve, as well, are mortgage bankers. We work with Security National Mortgage, and our goal is to get your financing done without any stress. There might be a little bit of stress, Steve?
Tad bit.
Okay, just a tad bit.
Not much.
Today's market, there's just a lot of things that we have to do with compliance and some of the other regulations that have come up from the government. But what we've done at Security National is kind of bring financing back to old school, the old way of doing it, where you're dealing with one loan officer, you're dealing with one processor, typically one underwriter, and then one doc person. And those are the only people that are touching your file. We all know them by first name. We work together on a daily basis, and we really bring the personal level back to home lending. We've got great rates and great programs, and we'll just take really good care of you and make sure that we've got all of your ducks in a row and all your financing in order before you go out and start looking for a home. So be sure and give us a call if we can help you with that. 888-638-1117.
Or if you have a question you'd like to ask us on the air today, we're going to be taking calls later on. Feel free to give us a call at 866-712-1300.
Yep, we're going to do that probably in the third segment. So give us a call and get in the queue if you want to do that. If you want to call in and ask a question of Clifton or Steve about financing in Memphis, 866-712-1300. If you Google Real Estate Radio Northwest and go to our Facebook page, that number's there as well.
I wanted to ask you a question, Steve, because Nick mentioned that you're doing 30 to 40 loans a month. That's a lot of loans. And being a loan officer, you have a choice of what company you work with. What is it that you find about Security National that allows you to do such a great volume? Because you have to have things running smooth as clockwork in order to do that kind of volume.
We get when I made the decision to leave my previous company, I started shopping. I started looking around at different mortgage companies. And Security National was a little bit smaller, very aggressive at what they're doing, had a vision as far as where they want to go. And the biggest thing for me as a loan officer was getting somebody to realize the business model that I set up, see the potential in it, and really assist me as growth. A lot of companies out there don't want to finance real estate investors. They just don't want to do it.
I've seen that. I've seen that it's really difficult. So now how about you, Steve? Have you found... Steve, I'm sorry. Oh, my gosh. I'm looking at Cliff and saying Steve.
We've got Clifton Stone from Memphis Cashflow.
Let's use the right names here.
Yeah, and then Steve Bighaus from Security National. So the team is, if you're just turning in, Clifton Stone is a real estate... What do you call yourself? Are you a real estate agent or...
Investor?
Investor's agent?
A real estate investor. I'm also a licensed real estate agent.
Yeah. Wholesalers gets thrown around as a term some of you guys are using.
But you're not wholesaling. You're buying and holding.
No, they're buying and selling.
Yeah. My personal company is buying and holding. Memphis Cashflow is a turnkey...
A wholesaler?
Wholesale provider, yes.
Oh, well, this will be interesting to learn more about this during the show.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do is they buy properties. A lot of times you guys are buying property. We better get into what you guys do. You're buying... So Shelley we want to bring her into the loop here. Sorry about that, Shelley. Yeah, you guys, because Steve and I have talked, and you and I have talked a bit too, but your goal is to get properties, basically, bottom line, get your properties ready for people to buy and be able to rent out and keep as an investment as a hold property long term.
Right.
And then tell us how that works and what the process it takes to get into that situation.
Memphis Cashflow is what you call a full service turnkey provider. This means that we source single-family investment properties well below market value. We rehab them very thoroughly, taking into account long-term maintenance. And our sister company, Marathon Management, can handle all aspects of property management for the investor.
Okay, so you guys are from start to finish. But you basically buy the houses initially then, the ones that need some work.
Yes, we're a debt-free company and take full ownership.
And then how many of those are you buying a month?
We comfortably purchase and rehab 15 to 25 properties per month.
Yeah, and so then, because somebody coming in, it's tough, well, Steve would know too, to finance a home that's going to need some work, that's been a little rough, maybe tenants and stuff, or somebody's been a little hard on the house, and it needs some work before it's able to get the type of financing that Steve gets. So you guys do that work. You buy the property in rough shape. You put the money and energy into getting it ready to sell.
Yes, our rehabs are
ready to rent.
Yeah, our rehabs are very thorough. We encourage our investors to even have a third-party home inspection. So we're above and beyond Steve's lender's requirements.
Wow, that's awesome. So and then the prices, can you kind of give us an idea? We just talked about $50,000, but what's the range? Give us some numbers if you could on the houses that you're selling.
The best way to describe it, we grade our houses A, B, or C. Our A house is going to be a 4 or 5 bedroom, 2 or 3 bath house, 2,000 plus square feet. Prices are going to range from $1 to $150, and the rents on that property are going to be anywhere from $1,100 to up to $2,000.
So what if you don't quite have 100, 250 even to be able to invest?
The opposite end of that spectrum would be our C house, and that's going to be a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,500 square feet or less.
Still a really nice house.
It is, and
those are expensive in Seattle.
We're not in the war zones.
Yeah.
We're staying in neighborhoods where we want to ultimately manage the property. So 3-bedroom, 1-bath, less than 1,500 square feet, brick property. Most likely has a 1-car carport. Going to range from $50,000 to $65,000, $70,000.
Wow.
Rents are going to be anywhere from $695 to $900.
And that's still a stable rental area.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're not in an area where gang violence and drive-by shootings and that kind of stuff.
No, absolutely not.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, you'll have a higher percentage of investor-owned properties in that area, and that's one of the bigger differences. So you're going to see a little bit higher factors for repairs and maintenance and vacancy. Your tenant can be a bit more nomadic. They're most likely a lifetime renter, so they're going to move a little bit more. But your returns are higher on paper from the get-go. So those properties perform really well in the long run.
Wow. And then on the other side of that, so if somebody wants to buy, say, a $50,000, $70,000 house, setting them up with Steve, how would you finance something like that? Steve, I know you can't get into specifics, but just kind of in general terms.
Well, first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at the number of finance properties that they currently have, because that's going to determine what their down payment is going to be. And then, of course, we take into factors like credit. Those things are all going to come into play.
So for like your typical, like I've got an investor from Costco now that makes $70,000 a year, a good job, good credit, and has gotten into investing. Obviously not a millionaire, but is starting to build an investment portfolio, and that sounds like the perfect type of client for you guys. A lot of these people they've got great credit, but their income can't really support buying 5 or 10 houses.
And there's a lot of misconceptions out there why people don't try and finance investment properties, because they don't think they can.
Yeah.
And so they'll reach out to people like Clifton will refer clients over to me. I'll talk with them a little bit, get a brief history as far as where they're at as far as like income wise, assets. Show them how that we can finance them. Dispel any myths that they may have heard as far as why they can't do it, and then get them on the road.
Yeah, and what typically what kind of range of money are they going to need to come to the table with?
Well, that's all going to depend upon the the price range of the property.
Yeah. Say an $80,000 property.
We're talking probably minimum 20% down is what they're going to need. 20% down plus the closing costs.
So $15,000, $16,000 you can get into.
Well, and plus their closing costs. They're going to have closing costs on top of that.
Yeah. Wow. And that's just amazing. And because I know I've had some people, and not that you want to do this, but they're starting to move some money from their retirement accounts. You want to be sure that you're coached, before you make any decisions about your retirement accounts. But they just feel like seeing what's happened in the stock market, what's happened in 401ks and even mutual funds and everything. It's just kind of sitting there and just kind of like a dead fish.
Right.
And they're starting to find real estate as a neat opportunity, and you guys see it. I mean, you guys get it, and we do too. Being able to buy a rental property and get that in as part of your retirement plan for the future. You've got rents that are going to go up with the income. We talked about a movie, It's a Wonderful Life, with Jimmy Stewart, and how they quoted in that movie, I'll get you a great job at the bank, making $2,700 a year. You can buy a big house and you can fly to Europe, take vacation with your wife at $2,700 a year. And we all know, just in that period of time, how that's gone to mean nothing. But the neat thing about this, and from an investment side and long term, is your rents are going to go up with the cost of living. Aren't they? Isn't that what you guys see in Memphis? Don't you kind of predict that?
Memphis is a very unique market. If you look historically, rents have really remained stable over the past decade or more. So we don't see Memphis doesn't change much. We don't have huge fluctuations in our pricing. We're not like Las Vegas or Phoenix or Southern California where you can buy a house and it'll appreciate and you'll have some huge return when you sell it. We're a stable market and we're a cash flow market. So, there's investors find a lot of stability in that you buy a property at this price. For everything we see, rents should remain stable in the near future.
Yeah, and so then once you get your rents in place and start paying down that mortgage, that becomes a positive cash flow that eventually the goal is to use that for retirement income.
Actually, I'm thinking it might be a positive cash flow from the start. This is something I wanted to cover here a second ago when you were talking about, okay, so you're investing in this $70,000 home and you're putting about 20% down, so that's going to leave what? Maybe $60,000 owing on the property by the time you get done. So what are the payments roughly going to be on a $60,000 mortgage? Just a ballpark idea.
Well, probably $450.
$450, okay. And you're talking about that property renting for $650 to $900. That is definitely a positive cash flow.
You're going to make money. There's no doubt about it, Nat. I've financed thousands of customers, and they'll make money from day one.
That's awesome. We'll just run into a break here. When we get back, we can talk more. We're starting to get an idea of what you guys are doing, and it sounds amazing. So we're going to talk more when we get back at the third segment with Clifton Stone, Memphis Cashflow, about how you can buy properties. And we're going to do some calls, too. If you want to call in, 1-866-712-1300, and we can take a call. Be right back after the break.
She calls out to the man on the street. Sir, can you help me? It's cold and
Real Estate Radio Northwest is hosted by local real estate and finance expert Nick Neal. The purpose of the show is to help customers understand what's really going on in our local real estate market. We're teaching you the why and the how-to so you'll always be one step ahead of everyone else. Whether you need to sell your home for top dollar, refinance and save money, or even buy a bargain in the Puget Sound, Nick Neal can help. Call Nick directly at 888-638-1117. That's 888-638-1117. Take advantage of speaking with Nick Neal anytime you're entering a real estate transaction. Having someone who can answer all your questions that truly cares about you and your family's best interest is priceless. Call Nick Neal today and you'll be glad you did. 888-638-1117. That's 888-638-1117. Or you can visit realestateradionorthwest.com for more info.
Discover, share, and connect with today's thought leaders in health, lifestyle, and finance at GoodLifeRevolution.com. Now, the one talk show in America all about your wealth, your health, and living the good life. The Good Life Revolution is proud to present Ray Lucia.
GoodLifeRevolution.com.
Weekdays at 9 on Business Radio 1300 KKOL.
Are you interested in finding out how the other half lives and how they got there? The history, the politics, and the whimsical stories that made and lost millions. Tune in every Friday afternoon at 3 and Saturday evening at 6 to About Money with host Mike Adams. Mike works with clients with seven-figure plus investment portfolios and knows the ins and outs of how they got there. It's About Money every Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and Saturday evenings at 6 right here on Business Radio 1300 KKOL.
This is Charles Osgood, and we're here talking with Karen Mills, the former head of the Small Business Administration.
One of my important pieces of advice for small businesses, have a plan. Figure out whether you want to be big or small in 5 years, and then reverse engineer success. See what 5 years looks like, and then figure out what is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 to get there. How much money will it take? What help and advice? How many workers do I need? That's how you really get a more successful business plan.
For many small business owners, that step-by-step plan starts at the UPS store with in-store and online printing services.
AM 1300 and Freedom 1590. You're listening to Real Estate Radio Northwest. I'm your host, Nick Neal, and I'm here with Shelley Dudley, my co-host.
Hey, Nick.
And we are with Security National Mortgage loan officer and the financing behind what we're talking about today. Steve Bighaus has his team out of Everett, literally doing 30 to 40 loans for people that are getting involved with the investment opportunity that we're talking about here. And with Clifton Stone from Memphis Cashflow, providing the real estate on the ground in Memphis. We just have an amazing team and amazing opportunity here, and I think we're finally... You getting a feel for it, Shelley?
Oh, I'm loving...
As to what we can
talking about investment properties.
Offer people with these two guys. It's just amazing. It's
great.
Really an affordable way to get into real estate. And, if you can't afford it in Seattle, and whether you're in Memphis or not is really kind of irrelevant, isn't it, Clifton?
Absolutely. We work with investors both domestic and internationally. So we're working with investors from all over the world.
Well,
which is amazing. And then you were also saying, Steve, during the break, that a lot of the investors are not in Memphis that you work with. Wow. This is
probably about 95% of all of my investors are out of state that are buying there.
Yeah, well, because we kind of talked about how the process works to buy the home. You guys actually get it ready to where it's rentable, and then are selling it, and Steve's helping get the financing in place with a nominal down payment at the price ranges you guys are working. And then you also have a property management company that will take care of the management.
Right. I think there are three key areas where we really bring value to our investors. And the first is the acquisitions. And Tom Christensen is our full-time director of acquisitions. He's been in that position now for 7 years, and he is incredible at his job. And he'll be the first to tell you that he loves his job. He gets to climb around houses all day and basically buy as many houses as he can.
Wow.
He and his wife also have their own investment portfolio. They own 10 single-family houses, and he is constantly working relationships with agents, going after REO foreclosures, negotiating short sales with banks, auctions, working with distressed homeowners who need to sell tomorrow, any and every avenue possible to buy these houses well below market value, where we can rehab them and bring them to investors with returns and positive cash flow that makes good sense.
Man, that's amazing. Not to cut you off, but that's kind of, when I look at real estate investing, that's kind of like the nasty part, or the hard part of the job. Is you're out in the trenches.
You're exactly
you're digging through a lot of muck and mire to find the diamond in the rough that's going to be able to, be a potential investment opportunity.
We've seen a lot of crazy
I wouldn't want to
stuff.
do that myself. If you can have somebody do that for you.
I was going to say, it's probably a good thing he's passionate about what he does. Well, in case you've just tuned in, we're talking today about real estate as an investment. If you'd like to join us on the air and ask a question or talk about investment
People
real
can
estate
really
with
that?
us.
We really have a phone line they can call in on?
They can call in.
That's crazy. We haven't done this before, so give us a call. Sorry, Shelley. I'm excited.
Well, give them the number then.
Oh, you give them the number.
Well, then don't interrupt me. Just go ahead. Give them the number.
866-712-1300. So if you want to ask a question to Clifton or Steve about financing or investing in Memphis, for literally $15,000, $20,000, you can get started with this. Give us a call, 866-712-1300, and we'll let you ask a question of one of these fine gentlemen. But so we've got you to the point where you have the guy that buys the property and starts with the rehab, and then what happens?
Well, the second key area where we can bring value to our investors is with the rehab itself, and that is where that's where we're able to eliminate a certain amount of risk for the investor, because that's where you find the skeletons in the closet, the surprises. Todd Sherman is our full-time project coordinator. He owns 23 single-family houses himself, and he is very familiar with the rehab to rent process. And he oversees 3 general contractors. Each of those general contractors has a crew working underneath them. 2 of them have been with us for over 7 years. They're very experienced, very good at what they do. And we fully renovate the houses, taking into account long-term maintenance items. We'll go in with permanent ceramic tile instead of a vinyl floor, things that will eliminate costs over time for our investors. The third key area is the property management. Marathon Management is our sister company. They can handle all aspects of property management for the investor, and they currently manage just over 1,200 houses in the Memphis area.
Wow.
They have a full-time team of 11, and they're a very aggressive property management company.
Wow, so it's really turnkey. I mean, come to you guys, and you've got a system set up to where somebody can come in and be ready to just buy a home that's ready to rent.
Right. We've positioned ourselves as a one-stop shop for real estate investors who want to get into the Memphis market.
Yeah. And Steve, give us an idea. What are some of the clients that you're seeing? Are they all rich people, or do you have a variety of people that you're working with?
Well, we've got our entry-level investors. They're going to have enough cash to get into the property, and then I also work with some pretty seasoned investors.
Yeah, buying in large numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have clients that'll come in and buy. Like I've got just finished up with a gentleman, bought 7 properties at once.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Was that in Memphis or?
No, another state.
Yeah.
But we've done multiple properties in Memphis, 3 and 4, and so so it is available. I mean, the people recognize the value.
Oh yeah.
But that's the point. You make a really good point here that there are hot markets or great investment markets across the country. You don't necessarily have to live in that market in order to be able to invest. So
Absolutely
if someone lives here in Seattle area or Washington State and they're not liking what they're finding here in Seattle or throughout
it's just
Washington,
been bought up. Yeah, if you can't afford it.
Yeah, then feel free to look around the country and I would say give Clifton a call. It sounds like he's got a great market going on over there. Well, absolutely.
Why don't you talk a little about the economy in Memphis and why that's a good place to own a rental property? Because a lot of times, like in Seattle, if you buy a rough property that's $60,000, $70,000, it's probably bullet holes you're going to be fixing.
I would say if you buy something for $60,000, $70,000, it's going to be a teardown here in Seattle.
Yeah.
Well,
you just can't get it for that price.
Memphis is a very unique market because, I mean, we have some of the lowest purchase prices in comparison to some of the highest rents than a lot of other markets in the United States.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and we have a very, very high demand for rental properties. Just over 40% of our population rents. And it has a lot to do with our employment base. Memphis is known as America's distribution center. We're strategically located in the central southeast part of the United States, and we really are a distribution center. We were founded in 1819. And we're at that time we're the world's largest cotton and lumber market. They would ship the cotton up and down the Mississippi River, and we're one of the first towns to have a railroad. Today, we're one of 3 cities in the United States that has all 5 Class 1 railroads coming through town. We also have Interstate 40, I-69, which are major trucking routes. International Airport, FedEx is our largest employer in Memphis. They're based out of Memphis, employ over 31,000 people. We also have International Paper, AutoZone, Service Master, and we're very proud to have St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So we have a number of large companies that have made Memphis their home, and as a result, we have a large number of middle-class jobs available.
Nice. So those are strong companies that have a consistent need for middle-class income,
right. People
that typically are the type of people that are going to be renting.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's just awesome. So again, can you give us some examples of some of the stuff that you've done lately, some of the properties that you've done, so people can really get a feel for what they might be able to buy with you?
Actually, I can give you a great example. Steve actually did the loan for this investor.
Not surprised.
Yeah. This is an example of an A property. I believe this investor put 20 or 25% down. The purchase price was $1,089. This was a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house over 2,600 square feet.
Wow.
Built in 1985, and it rented for $1,395 a month. So you're looking at some substantial cash flow, even with the leverage.
Wow, that sounds like a lovely home too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was the ballpark payment on that, Steve? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember right off the top of my head.
Probably under $1,000 though, wouldn't you think?
It was in the it probably would have been about 657.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some high cash flow opportunities even with the A properties. Another property which is a recent deal that this investor has used his first 10 loans, so he's looking for other financing.
So he has 10
opportunities.
properties.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, he and his wife both have 10, so they've maxed out their conforming loan numbers. So he purchased this one cash. He bought it for $79,900, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just over 1,300 square feet, and it rented for $925.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yep. And one more quick example of a C house, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, just over 1,000 square feet. Sale price was $54,900, and
that's a house. That's not a condo.
That's a very nice house.
Yeah.
In fact, it's anybody listening can see it on our website, memphiscashflow.com. There are after rehab pictures on the listing.
Wow.
3915 Cheryl.
Wow. Yeah. And what was the price on that again?
$54,900.
$54,900.
And you said how much did it rent for?
$695.
Oh my
wow.
gosh. And that's something you guys have rehabbed.
Right. Fully
so the house is ready and turnkey. Boy, that's just amazing.
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, we're just about ready to head back into another break, but we're going to get back and talk more. And if you do want to call us, 866-712-1300, talk to Clifton Stone about opportunities in Memphis with investing that just sound really cool and amazing, and maybe a little bit more about how that works being in another state, say in Washington, if you want to do this, how easy it can be for you, that it's not going to be a scary thing, and you're not going to have to worry about somebody having toilet problems in Memphis. I mean, but even if you've got a property in Tacoma and you live, 30, 40 miles away, that's still an issue. What's the difference? Right. Really not that much. So Real Estate Radio Northwest will be right back after the break to talk more about investing in Memphis for really affordable prices. Be right back. Hi, Nick Neal here, co-host of Real Estate Radio Northwest. I'm thrilled that I get to speak with you every week and bring you the truth about our local real estate market. A lot of the stuff you hear in the news is based on national numbers and really doesn't mean much to us here in Puget Sound. If you want the inside knowledge about what's going on in our real estate market, that's what I'm here for. Whether you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or even refinance your home, we can help you make an educated decision about what's going to be best for you and your family. It's easy. We give you the real facts, you decide where to go from there. We're here to help. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back from the break soon.
Call Nick Neal today, and you'll be glad you did. 888-638-1117. That's 888-638-1117. Or you can visit realestateradionorthwest.com for more info.
The expert techs at your Ford dealer undergo enough extensive training that it's almost like getting a PhD in vehicle maintenance, so you can enjoy total confidence your Ford is being serviced by the pros. And with that kind of confidence, you'd write your own fortune cookies.
You are smart, good-looking, and eternally humble.
When you go to your Ford dealer for vehicle maintenance, the fact that every tech is factory trained by Ford to know what's right for your car leaves you feeling confident. How confident? Confident enough to park a newly washed and waxed convertible under a bird's nest.
And right now, get up to $50 in mail-in rebates on any Motorcraft brake service when you use the Ford Service Credit Card. And because Motorcraft is backed by Ford, you can be confident you're getting the right parts for your vehicle.
Ford Service. Go with confidence.
Subject to credit approval. Taxes extra. Rebates by prepaid debit card. Pants or shoes on most vehicles. One axle. Exclusions apply. See your participating Ford dealer for rebate details through 12/31/14.
when you guys were talking.
Yeah, he zooms in on you guys while you're talking.
Oh, really?
No, that's not good.
Oh, God.
It's good. You guys are looking good.
And once we get this up, we can just media all over the Real Estate Radio Northwest. We're back with who was that?
Who was who?
I'm just trying to catch the music again. I totally know that song, but I forgot who the artist was.
We'll have to ask Joshua because I actually had my headset off and I wasn't listening.
I know,
I'm sorry.
We just jumped back in. We're talking here between segments and got to get back to the show.
We got into the conversation. It was good.
Billy Idol, I think it was.
Oh, and I missed it?
You did.
Wow,
yeah, it was
thank
cool.
you, Joshua. I love Billy Idol.
Every time we have an old song like that, it just like takes you back to like junior high or high school or something, really cool time.
Joshua
like
really knows our taste. He's good.
He really does. Well, this is Nick Neal with Real Estate Radio Northwest. I got Shelley Dudley, my co-host, with me.
And we're broadcasting on Freedom 1590 and KKOL AM 1300.
Freedom 1590.
Freedom 1590.
And Business Radio KKOL AM 1300. A little more serious on that side.
AM 1300.
Yeah. We've got Dennis Miller before us on Freedom 1590. So we're
I know, that is
after.
way cool. And then we also have Ken Krotz with Real Talk on KKOL just before us. So, yeah.
Well, back in the studio with Clifton Stone.
Jones, yeah. Oh, that's right,
Memphis.
Clifton Stone.
I just wanted to dramatically say his name because you're a dramatic guy.
And Steve Bighaus.
What you're doing down there. This is amazing. I mean, I haven't heard of opportunities like this. Well, they haven't been in Seattle for about probably 30 years to be able to buy $50,000 houses. But to be able to get into real estate, because I totally believe in real estate, and I'm helping a lot of local people buy properties in the 100, 200, 300, and like I said, two $500,000 houses right now that we're working with the client on, and they've got millions of dollars, so they can do that kind of stuff.
Right.
But the principles are the same regardless. I mean, the security of real estate, the benefit long term of being able to buy a property, pay down the mortgage, have a positive cash flow in your later years with really not a whole lot of effort, especially with the property management companies like you have taking over the management side.
Right, and what makes Memphis so unique is that our barriers to entry are low for new and young investors.
It sounds like it's a great way to go.
Yeah, we can. Someone can build a profitable portfolio in Memphis with probably close to one or two down payments with the $500,000 deals you do out here.
Yeah, well, and you had but you had talked about somebody, and I want to I've seen this happen too with investors where you start out and you get your initial nut or your initial down payment, your skin in the game for the first house. And sometimes it's a little tricky. We've got people doing things with retirement accounts again to come up with that money. But with your situation, that's $15,000 to $20,000 is all
right
to get in. But then once you buy a property and you buy a second, you start getting cash flow, and you buy a third and you start getting more cash flow. You move some equity around. You pretty soon, like you talked about, a guy has 10 properties and he's able to pay cash for a house. And money just kind of comes when you build this, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I also think it's important to note that one of the best ways to hedge risk in real estate investing is through numbers. What I realized when I crossed my 10 property mark was that suddenly if I had a vacancy or a major repair item, the rest of my portfolio could cushion that. So if you have one property, your experience at any given time can be really, really good while it's occupied and cash flowing, or really bad while it's vacant. So it's best to have a number of them in your portfolio, and overall your portfolio perform better.
Yeah. That makes sense. The greater your cash flow, the greater you can cover your expenses.
Have a reserve account to.
Right.
Yeah. But now, speaking of expenses, Nick was talking as we went out of the last segment about you have a tenant with a clogged toilet. And you had mentioned earlier that you have a property management company so that a person who's out of state does not even have to worry about the tenant or whether they've got a clogged toilet or that type of thing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Marathon Management will really handle all aspects of the property management. If you have a clogged toilet or the water heater goes out in the middle of the night, they have teams in place to go out and take care of those repairs ASAP. Our goal is to basically contact the investor at the end of the month, whether we send them a check or direct deposit. We're not going to bother them with the small stuff. If there's a major repair over $400 or more, then we'll bring the investor in, say, here's what's going on. This expense is going to be charged to your account. You need to know about it and give us approval. But the system works really well. The rent is due on the first of the month, and Marathon will hold that rent until the end of the month, and all owners are paid on the last day of the month. During that time, any small repairs that come up, the money's there to take care of it.
And so you guys manage the rent? Having the cash flow from the property is all managed by your property management company?
Right.
Yeah.
Collections,
so our guys
repairs.
don't have to be calling from Seattle to try and get somebody to pay their rent in Memphis?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And if a tenant has to move out of state or whatever, you'll find a new tenant for the investor?
Yes.
Wow, that's great. So really, there's virtually nothing for them to do.
Right. We have 12 full-time leasing agents. They're all independent contractors, and they are quite aggressive. They're paid on commission, and they hustle.
Okay, so now for our wannabe investors, a ballpark idea of how much they're going to pay for a service like this.
Well, Marathon's fees are 9% of the monthly rent for 1 through 4 properties. It's on a sliding scale, so if you have 5 through 9, then it's 8%, and 10 or more is 7%.
That's very affordable.
Awesome. Yeah, typically they're 10 to 15%. Yeah. Well, we've got a couple minutes left. We want to get you guys contact information and make sure that people who are interested, what's the best way to get the process started if they want to?
Well, visit our website, www.memphiscashflow.com. You can click on View the Team Members and see each of our profiles. My name's Clifton Stone.
You're just going to walk out Clifton.
Yeah, Clifton.
This is a good guy.
You'll see my profile there. You can click directly on my email. My direct phone number is there as well. And feel free to call anytime. Yep,
and go to our website or our Facebook page. We've got a show card available too. This show will be up, and we'll also have the podcast on YouTube if you want to check that out. And then Steve Bighaus is local. You're the local guy working here with Security National and helping with all the financing. And you're probably an important person to contact initially too.
Correct.
We just have a minute or so left. But what's the process you go through when somebody wants to start investing?
Well, we want them to come to us first before they actually, make that decision to actually purchase a property. We want to make sure, one, that they can afford it. They've got the cash, they've got the credit, and then we'll kind of walk through the lending process with them. We typically start them out having go to my website, and there's a link there where they can do the application online. The website is teambighaus.com. And you spell the last name Bighaus.
Yeah.
You can go there. We put information on the website. We've designed that for the entry level and the seasoned investor to kind of discuss some of the issues that they may have and help educate the investor. That's basically what they do. We've got all my team members. The profiles on there. They can send us an email through the Team Bighaus. So just a lot of information there, and it'll grow as we continue to build.
Nice. Well, and we're here to support you too. We're going to be working together with the radio show and with bringing in more investor opportunities from Memphis with Clifton, and just check it out. Memphis Cashflow. Google it. Team Bighaus. Google it. They've got great websites. RealEstateRadioNorthwest.com. More information there. Also Facebook. We've got show cards up for them as well. You can get contact information at Facebook, Real Estate Radio Northwest. Real Estate Radio Northwest will be back next weekend. Have a great rest of the weekend. Invest in Memphis.